At 8 years old, I was given piano lessons. I lived in Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and I'd come home from school and I'd have to practice piano. I'd look out the window, and all my friends would be playing stickball and punchball and Johnny on a Pony and marbles or whatever, boys, girls, whatever, having a grand time. And so I went to my father when I was about 10 and a half after studying the piano for 2.5 years. I said, Daddy, I hate music. Music's not for me, Daddy. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I want to stop my piano lessons. He said, great, sure, perfect. The reason why he said that, it was going to save him $5 a week. And times are tough. Fantastic. Now I'm playing ball, no more piano lessons. Who needs music? Forget it. My older brother, Steve, who happens to also a great jazz musician, was in the Army. He came home on furlough. And he said, hey, Ange, how's your piano lessons? Oh, no, Steve. That's not for me. You see, Steve, I don't like music. It's not for me. Oh, really? We'll see about that. And he went to my father and reprimanded him and said, this kid's got to continue his piano lessons. Now I was forced to, right? Taking lessons, and now I have to practice every day. I did. The good thing about it, now I'm about 13 years old, and I would be in school, and I would just start playing piano, and all of a sudden, I noticed that a girl would come sit next to me on the bench. Oh, Angelo, can you play some more? Yeah, yeah. So I went home and I practiced more. And the more and more I practiced, more and more girls would come sit next to me on the bench. Well, that's it. That's all I needed. Music was going to be my life. I decided to go to college and study, music as a French horn major and study some composition. And I went to the Eastman School of Music in Rochester. I did only a couple of years there because I found that even though it was a great school and I was doing really nicely, I knew that you had to make contacts in New York in the business of songwriting. I was doing a lot of songwriting, et cetera, and arranging, orchestration, singers, dancers, working, whatever. And I started getting recordings by all these pop artists, mostly pop soul, the Nina Simones, the Melba Moore, the Della Reeses. I'm up at Palomar Pictures, where I was working on a TV show. There was a script around in the office, and it was called Gordon's War, directed by Ossie Davis. And I just wrote a couple of themes, just based on reading the script. And Ossie was around, and I said, Ossie, you just finished shooting? Yeah, I just finished shooting the film, thank goodness, yeah. I said, hey, Ossie, would you come over to the piano? I'd like to play you a couple of themes. I've read the script. He said, well, Angelo, it's very nice of you, but I have Barry White is going to be the composer of my score. And besides, it's really a black-oriented film because it was the time of Superfly and all of that kind of stuff. And it's really an all-brother kind of a thing. I said, Ossie, but do me a favor, let me just play the things for you anyway. Well, he was such a classy man. He said, okay, He sat next to me at the piano, and I played, I was a child of tomorrow. This is for the girl, the lost girl, born in the world, whatever. And I was a woman in love, whatever it was. He said, wow, that's perfect for the girl, my God. That brings me to tears. That's fantastic. That's it. What am I going to do? He says, the problem is, it's a brother film. I said, Ossie, I'm a Badalamenti. I'm Sicilian. You can just take 4 strokes from the bottom of Sicily, 4 strokes, you're on the tip of Africa. Now, Ossie, I may not be your brother, but I'm certainly your cousin. He says, do the film. True story. And the most important thing, as far as film is concerned, was meeting with David Lynch, which goes back to the days of Blue Velvet. I received a phone call at home for a good friend of mine, Peter Runfellow. He said, Angelo, can you come out tomorrow to Wilmington and work with Isabella Rossellini to help her to sing the title song, Blue Velvet, because David's having some trouble with her singing it. He's not happy with it, and she's not happy with the people that she's working with. I said, I can't do it. I'm going to have to go buy a car at an auction. There's one that's like $800, and I've been saving up for that $800 car. He says, you know, I really think you should do this. You know, you work great with singers and all of that. All right, he talked me into it. So I go down and say, hey, Isabella, she's half Italian. She's got to be able to sing. I mean, you know that. So I meet with Isabella, and we're in a room together with a piano, put a little cassette on the top of the piano, and we start working on the song, Blue Velvet. And we record it. After a couple of hours, we get a really nice take. And Fred comes over, and me, Fred, and Isabella walk over to the set where David's shooting the very last scene of Blue Velvet. And Fred introduces me to David. You know, he's up over here and his hair up there and all of that, hello, yeah. And David doesn't say much. He puts his earphones on and listens to this recording I just did with Isabella singing. Takes it off, and he says, this is Peachy Keen. That's the ticket. That's the ticket. So I went to Fred and said, what does Peachy Keen and that's the ticket mean? I'm from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. We don't talk like that. He says, he adores it. Absolutely adores it. Bang. That was the start of it.
She wore blue velvet, bluer than velvet was the night.
Then Dino De Laurentiis did not want to spend $50,000 for the sync right of a song, of Immortal Coil, which David loved. It was his favorite song and recording of all time. So Fred Caruso, the line producer, comes to me and says, Angelo, can't you write something in that kind of style and all that? Well, I said, I'm not a lyricist, but if you have this director write me a lyric, I'll put some music to it and we'll see what we get. David thought that was the most ridiculous idea in the world. He's not really a lyricist. Who is this composer? He did a nice job with Isabella, and now we're gonna write a song that's gonna replace my favorite song and favorite record of all time, but I'll pacify Dino to at least show him that I'm trying to save him some money. And then, of course, it'll be mixed, and I get my way. Isabella comes into New York City, and because David asked me to record her for the movie, and she comes in with a little piece of yellow paper and brings it to me. It said, Mysteries of Love, and I'm looking at, this is David's lyric. Sometimes the wind blows and you and I float in space and live forever in the darkness and da-da. This is not a lyric, you know. Where's the verse? Where's the chorus? Where's the bridge? Where's the hook? Where's it ain't no mountain high enough? You know, where's the hook? It's like, you know, just like a poetic kind of thing. What do I write for music? You know, I had no idea. So I did the next best thing. I called him. I said, David, this lyric, man, it's something. It's really something. I didn't say it was good, bad, nothing. It's really something. By the way, what do you have in mind? Like what kind of music? You know, well, just let it float, like endless, just like the tides of an ocean, in and out, just spacey and beautiful and slow. Oh, I see. I had no idea what he's talking about. He comes in, he hears it, he loves the song. It's about, this is wonderful. He said, you know, when these singers that could sing this, that sing like an angel. Julie Cruz, who was a singer in a show that I was doing downtown New York, a workshop. I said, Julie, I need a singer to sing this with a real angelic, wistful sound. Never thinking about her because she was a show singer and she was a belter, right? Ethel Merman, you're in a show, you sing loud, baby, industrial. And she says, I have friends that can probably do this the way you want it, real sotto voce, real high and quiet. She sends up 2 or 3 girls and they didn't cut the mustard for me. And I said, Julie, thanks for sending them, but they're not doing anything for me. She says, well, maybe you want me to try it? I'll try it. I said, well, Julie, I just said I need an ethereal, soft voice, you're a show singer. She says, well, let me go home and work on it. She went home, she worked, found that lady, she worked very hard on putting her voice in another register. So she wasn't Ethel Merman. And she came in and sang it for me and just blew me away. It was, I tell Julie all the time, she loves it. I said, Julie, it was love at first sound. Things just came together. The number one is how I worked with Isabella, and I made it work and recorded her to his delight. The fact that I wrote a song with him as a lyricist also that replaced his favorite song and recording of all time. Then he said, Angelo, you write all of that. I want to use Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony in Blue Velvet. But do you think you can write maybe in a Russian style and all of that? I said, yeah, I'm certainly not half as good, or 1/10 as good as, 100th as good as Shostakovich, but I can probably do some of that.
The biggest tongue in the world.
Blue Velvet was the only piece of material that we did in a traditional composer-director way because it was our first meeting. After that, with Twin Peaks and everything else, we had such a great relationship that it was just a matter of David sitting next to me and talking to me. And I would take his words and translate that into music. And David said, Angelo, I need some firewood. I said, what do you mean, what firewood? He said, I just need you to make some long tracks, very slow, with very low instruments. I said, you mean like the cello and the basses and bassoon and contrabassoon and contrabass clarinet, down in hell? Yeah. Yeah, just those instruments, no violins, no piccolos, and record me like 10 minutes of music, very slow, and use a click track. So I wrote these long, as they say in music, whole notes tied, all over the place. He said, that's good, Angelo. And then what he did later, he said to the engineer, play this back half speed. Now you're gonna play what's all the way down there, half speed. Suddenly, from the bottom, you're way below bottom, Then he said to the engineer, that really sounds cool, really cool. But now can you make it quarter speed? Now David, from that 10 minutes, suddenly has a 15, 20-minute track of this undulating, slow, rumbling sounds. He made that work in so many places. David comes into my little studio in New York, and he would just sit on my right. I'd have the keyboard here, would have a little cassette on the top of the keyboard, and he would just talk to me about moods. Meanwhile, he knows a good idea of what he's going to shoot. So he's just trying to think about what kind of music could go underneath that. And he just, with words, tells me. With David on every project that we've done together, it's been where he has talked to me, and in most cases, didn't even read a script, or didn't have to. I didn't have to see anything. I just talk to me, and then we would hear the music, and he would know where it fits and belongs. My collaborative relationship and friendship with David started in 1986 with the movie Blue Velvet. In those 31 years, we have never had one single harsh word between us. And I'm not kidding you, that's the gospel truth. Though we come from different parents, in our hearts, we're brothers. And I got to tell you, that's a beautiful thing.